will acknowledge that. And so as we go on with this podcast, we want to present our sponsor for this time, and that is the marketing department. Yay for the marketing department. Yes. So we notice that they have some advertising going on that we can see, and they're talking about a lunch, kind of a lunch and learn sort of situation to learn more about life care. And they're also talking about talking to them about possibly reducing the initial buy-in cost or the whatever. I'm not saying this very well, but just as a little incentive to people out there who might be interested in coming to live, or at least to look at Friendship Village. So we acknowledge their good efforts, and we appreciate all they do for us. And so listen, before we go on, would you like to add anything to that, Mary?
No, I think you did a good job. They're a hard-working crew over there, really working to get our apartments in both buildings filled up. So we got to give them lots of support.
Okay. All right. Now, before we proceed, I just want to share a quick joke. And for you dedicated listeners who have heard all of our podcasts, this is a joke I shared about a month or so ago. But anyway, it goes like this. This guy goes into a fancy restaurant because he's looking forward to a nice dinner, and he sits down and he says to the waitress, "I think I'd like to have your lobster tail." And the waitress pulls up a chair, smiles real big, and said, "Once upon a time, there was a handsome lobster." Okay. So here we go. Mary, why don't you introduce our guest for today?
All right, today we're going to talk to Tom Farmer. He's been a resident here. I'm not sure how long yet. 4.5 years. 4.5 years. So he's fairly new compared to Phil and I. Well, no, we're about 4 years too, I believe. Yeah. But anyway, we welcome him, and we're going to find out a little bit about Tom and his background and what's going on with him. So, as we usually begin, where were you born and raised, Tom?
I was born right here in Waterloo, raised in Waterloo, and went to West High School, graduated in 1966. I was on the swimming team, and as a diver, not as a swimmer.
Mm-hmm.
And that led to some college opportunities in diving, and ended up being the college was a small college in Missouri called Park College, just outside of Kansas City.
Sounds like fun.
And it was a nice campus. And I participated on the swimming and diving team and ended up being the small school Missouri college diving winner.
Wonderful.
Wow.
So
right.
that
Now,
was,
do you still swim here? Go to the Y or anything here?
not a whole lot.
Mm-hmm.
It's the opportunities, I guess, that are a little bit of a hindrance. But,
Okay.
not a whole lot.
How about Landmark Commons? Have you ever gone out there to swim?
No, I
Well,
have not.
that's a good swimming pool out there.
Yeah. Well, we'll have to try it out.
Yeah.
There you
It's
go.
small. It's small.
It's small, but it's good.
Yeah. But
We used to go take a bus and go out there.
it's got water in it.
Yeah, it's got water in it.
Well, that's very important.
That's
Yeah.
important. Yes.
Yeah.
So
Good. So then what did you pursue as a career in college?
Industrial technology
Okay.
education. So
Oh.
I was what they called years ago a shop teacher.
Okay.
shop. Oh yeah. Yeah, I remember them.
But my major was mechanical architectural drawing, and back in those days, you had a pencil and a drawing board and a ruler and or a slide that you could do longer lines on.
Right.
And that eventually evolved into computer-aided drafting, which I was a teacher at Olwine for 34 years.
Wow.
And we phased in from the hand drawing method to computer-aided drawing or drafting. And that was helpful to the students because they no longer had to worry about making a correct line width with a pencil. It was all done on the computer.
Yes.
And so it made life a little easier as a draftsman.
So yes, as you evolved through your career and your college, you saw how these things changed over
Yeah.
the years and kept getting more, I don't want to say more better, I don't think that's correct English, but
Or
anyway,
mainstream.
more mainstream, yes.
Yeah.
So as a kid in school, the teacher would look out and see you at your little desk and say, "Hey, Thomas," because you were busy drawing pictures of cars. Is that right?
No.
Oh, that's not right.
My artistic talent is pretty slim.
They'd
But
give you a ruler and a slide and you
yeah,
could do
I
okay.
could do, a block or something like that, but or a building. But as the computer part of things evolved, it went from computer-aided drafting to 3D modeling.
Oh, yeah.
So what you would do would be to create whatever it was, whether if it was a cylinder or an engine or whatever it might be, you create it in a 3D model, and then the software generates the drawings for it.
Okay.
And so one of the major programs was called Pro Engineer, and that particular software at my time was used by John Deere.
Okay.
There have been other 3D modeling programs that have come along that have sort of become pretty good competitors for Pro Engineer, but it was really a fun program to work with.
Right. And you enjoyed teaching all these students over the years?
Yeah.
And to see maybe their future evolve around some of this that they learned?
Yeah. My wife Karen was a math teacher at the middle school,
Okay.
and she had a program that was sponsored by the Mechanical Engineering Society to have a session where the kids have fun with math, but also learn about engineering and what the possibilities are of that.
Right. Right.
And consequently, we had several, or I should say many, young people that came out of our high school and became engineers.
From Little Olwine.
Yeah. Our first success story was a gal that went to Indiana University, and because she had taken drafting in my classes, she was tutoring a lot of the students coming out of the college suburbs that had taken philosophy and sociology and that kind of stuff that had no place in engineering.
Right.
And so she eventually graduated and worked for Ford Motor Company for a while and ended up working for NASA.
Wow, she really progressed.
Yeah.
Wonderful. That's wonderful.
So, and we had another gal that went to a private engineering school in, was it? Not sure, Indiana, Ohio, somewhere.
I don't know.
And she was hired by an oil company to help run one of their refineries.
So did you and Karen have some classes you did together? She on the math end and you on the...
Well, she fed them down to me.
Okay.
They came down, or up, or whatever. The two
Yeah.
schools are
But you need
on a
to
hill
talk
and
about
around.
math
But
counts.
anyway, she fed them to the industrial tech program at the high school, and depending on what they wanted to be in, we also taught metallurgy, machining,
It sounds like a wonderful school
working,
system.
woodworking, cabinetry.
It was and is.
And so we had a lot of students that came in and got a hands-on experience. There was one student that
So
came
that was
in.
kind of your main work focus, was teaching.
Yes,
Yes. Okay.
yeah. I was an industrial tech teacher,
Okay. How many years?
34.
Wow.
So
34
you
at the same
retired
school?
from that?
Same
Yes.
school.
Same
Yeah,
school?
Same school.
Yeah.
Yeah, we both retired in 2013.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
So you
So,
taught quite a length of time.
yeah. Well, after I taught high school, I qualified for the Iowa retirement. You have to have 85, I think it's 85 years of experience, which includes the teaching and then 1 year. So you're getting 2 years every time you
Right.
teach. And so I had qualified for that. So I actually took a sales position with a company that had sold our program different pieces of equipment. And so I became a salesman for that company.
Wow.
And we sold from computer labs to equipment that would train people in like wind turbine technology.
Oh, yeah.
And they would go through that program, become a certified wind turbine tech.
So all the time you were teaching, did you live in Old Wine?
Yes, we did.
Okay. So when did you move to Waterloo?
When we joined Friendship Village in
So you came
2020.
from Old Wine to Friendship Village.
Yep.
Yes, actually, we grew up in Waterloo.
Yeah, we grew up here in Waterloo, so
Yeah.
it was sort of like coming home.
Right. I understand that. Sure.
Mm-hmm.
And what year did you, or how did you meet Karen?
8th grade,
Okay.
there was a friend of hers that was having a boy-girl dance party
Because her
And
older sister had.
because her older sister had one. And so they lined that up, but they needed more boys. And my mom happened to be the golf partner of her mother. So that's how I got invited.
Okay.
And that night we met, enjoyed each other's company, and have been together ever since.
Yeah. All through high school
Yeah.
and college.
Yeah.
Yeah. What
We-
year did you get married then?
1969.
69. A couple years after you graduated.
Yeah. Well,
From high
actually,
school.
yeah, from high school.
From
We
high-
graduated in
years.
66.
Yeah.
Because I was already out of school. I was already out of college.
Karen went through University of Iowa, or University of Northern Iowa,
Yeah.
in 3 years, taking extra classes. And so I was still up in school in Wisconsin. I went to the university, well, now it's the University of Wisconsin at Stout.
Okay.
And that particular school had two majors that the school focused on. Was industrial tech education and family and consumer science education. But you could go there for other things,
Oh, yeah.
but those were their main focus. So I went there and graduated with a teaching certificate
Okay.
for
very
industrial
good.
tech.
Very good.
And
So along the way, then, did you start having a family?
well, not till we got to Olwine.
Yeah.
We moved to Oline in the fall or late summer of 1972, and that's when I took a job with the Oline Community School District as an industrial tech
Okay.
teacher. And we lived there until 2013
Okay,
when we moved here.
right. And you have children?
We have 2 children, a boy
Okay.
and a girl.
Okay. And where are they located?
Our son is located here in Waterloo. He is
Son is a
son.
Oh.
Yeah.
Cedar
He
Falls.
works for Veridian.
Oh,
Cedar.
sure.
He is
He
their
lives in Cedar Falls.
yeah. He lives in Cedar Falls. He is their quality assurance person and works directly with the CEO in terms of projects that she would like done or people would like done, that
Right.
kind of thing.
And your daughter?
She lives in Charles City with her husband, and they have 2 children, so we have 4 grandchildren.
All right.
She was educated as an elementary teacher, but she now is the coordinator for their homeschooling program
Okay.
in Charles City. Her husband, who I had as a student because I taught about 10 years as an adjunct instructor over at UNI, so I had him in actually a robotics class, and so her husband is an industrial tech teacher.
Wow. That's very nice. Very something to be real proud of.
Yeah.
Now,
that.
their son is a friend of Don Benson and helped him out with his programs.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was the music.
He was the music
Music
coordinator
band.
and
He and Don worked together on all
Yeah.
of this.
Yeah.
Very good. Very
Yeah.
good. So, what do you like about Friendship Village now that you're in and settled?
Well, between the 2 of us, Karen is the 3rd generation resident, and I am the 2nd generation resident. My folks were here, her folks,
Uh-huh.
and her grandparents were here, and her dad is still
Still
here.
Right.
And so we were pretty familiar with happenings around here and what,
So it was just kind of a natural thing to move in.
absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. We knew exactly what the routine was going to be in terms of
What
food
you
and
expect.
what you can do in your apartment. And
Right. And do you take part in any of the activities here? Like
Yeah.
well,
bingo, Wheel of Fortune, chorus.
well, we're usually out playing golf.
okay,
about
you're
that
golfers.
time.
Okay.
So we'll golf 2 or 3 times a week,
Mm-hmm.
and then
Well, that's quite an activity, and that takes a lot of time.
we go up to see Karen's dad every evening.
Mm-hmm.
And he likes to play the game Farkle,
Oh yes, yes.
and
is
so
that the dice?
yeah, it's with dice. You throw 6 dice and can get points and so on. And so we're up there for a couple hours, 2.5 hours, playing
2.5 hours.
Farkle,
Right.
and so that gets him worn out, and so he's about
Yeah.
ready to go to bed when
Right.
we leave.
And you're worn out when you come home.
A little,
Right.
yeah.
Yeah.
So.
Right. Do you have any hobbies that you have?
Well, when I was in teaching, I had access to all of our shops in the high school, and we had a very nice woodworking shop.
Oh yeah.
And so I decided that every member of our family, so it was us, my brother, my parents, Karen's brother, and Karen's sister, they all needed a grandfather clock.
Oh,
So I built 7 grandfather clocks.
holy cow.
And that was
Beautiful.
in woodworking was a hobby when I had a shop,
Yeah.
and when
It's a
I
big
retired,
hobby. It's a very committed hobby.
I didn't lose the shop totally because the student teacher that was with me in high school, in his high school training, became a teacher at the high school also.
Okay.
And so when he took over the wood shop, then I was allowed back in to do a few things. So I've built some Farkle boards and other things like that, just small stuff, no big projects.
Do you go out here to the wood shop?
Yeah. Visit with Jim
Right.
every once in a while. Haven't really built anything out there, but one of the grandfather clocks that was actually Karen's dad's is sitting out there. I'm in the process of getting it back to running condition.
Refurbishing it.
Just oiling the works, getting the pendulums the bars that strike the pendulums,
Right.
get them all back in order. And so I've got one thing to do, and that's set the chimes that chime on the quarter hour, half hour,
Right.
3/4
We had
hour.
a mantle clock that was in my husband's family for over 100 years. And we inherited it because it went on down the line to grandparents and then to his dad and then to us. And now I think that went to my granddaughter down at Robbins.
Oh, okay.
They have it now, I think.
Okay.
So we did have another mantle clock, just one of those that
Yeah.
went. But my husband bought that at a sale, so it wasn't any big deal.
Oh.
But this one was very nicely carved. It sat up and had a little drawer there that the key was in. Every night he would go and wind that clock. I never learned how. He wound that clock, and then after he was gone, I don't know who wound it. It sat on my mantle. Maybe it didn't run. I don't think it ran.
Okay.
So till we gave it away, or I gave it away.
Yeah.
But
Well, I built those clocks in 1979, so they're approaching vintage
vintage age.
yeah.
Right,
Yeah, but
right.
they all work very well.
Well, you've had an interesting life, interesting career, and it's still going on.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's the way we like to see it.
Well, I appreciate you asking me.
Well, I
And-
always like to try to find somebody that I don't know anything about, and maybe Phil doesn't know that much about them either. And we get them in here, we get them interviewed, and then we play the podcast for people, and people listen. I know some people that watch them all. They've approached me about them,
Yeah.
and they find out how interesting people are that live here, their background, their everything about them.
Yeah.
Otherwise, we see them at a meeting or a luncheon or a dinner or something, but we don't know anything about them. Don't know their history. And that's, I guess, what the idea of our podcast is to kind of work on some history here about
Sure.
our residents. So I think that's what we've accomplished.
So I would imagine if any friend of yours or acquaintance asked you, you would give a good recommendation to Friendship Village.
Absolutely.
Oh, is
Yeah.
that?
Absolutely.
Could you elaborate a little on that? What it might?
How about life care?
Yes, life care particularly.
That's the number one thing.
My mother was 92 when she passed away. She wasn't ever in any other facility except independent living. I won't bore you with the statistics of why, but and my dad then lived about 5 years after she passed away, and he was having some issues with walking, so he was moved up to the lodge, and he was there about 3 years.
Yeah,
maybe.
at least.
And then I think it was RSV or something that people catch when they're
Yes,
in the hospital, and that's what took
Took
him
him.
down.
And we have Karen's dad, Dave, will be getting close to 100.
Yes,
He's
March
99.
8th.
Next March, he will be
March
100.
8th.
So I'm sure there'll be a big party for him.
Yeah, we had
Well,
a pretty
he's
good
hoping
party for
so.
99.
He
but
thought
yeah,
the
he's,
party for 99 was wonderful. He's
Mhm.
hoping to have one for
100.
Yeah.
So
Dennis mentioned,
longevity kind of runs on both sides of your family, so you know what you got to look forward to.
Yeah. Well, hopefully.
Yeah.
Knock on wood.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what we all hope for, is a good long life, healthy, as much as we can be healthy at this age. And our mind, hope our mind stays intact. We work at that.
Well, I've said to others who are thinking about coming here, kind of the idea that you can be about as busy and involved as you want to be. And I know one person who I think stays in his room all the time, hardly is out, but maybe that's his choice.
Right.
And,
Some people like their privacy.
Yeah. And
Moved
but
here to
where I
retire.
live is kind of like I always likened it to
Superhighway.
a big house with a whole lot of bedrooms. And so I can go out of my room and walk down the hall and see people and talk to them and hang out with them for a while if we both want to or whatever.
Walking down your hall, you have to go a long ways to find somebody. You have nobody.
Oh, it's kind of empty. You're right.
Yeah.
You're right.
You have to go quite a ways to find somebody
What
down
do
your
you-
hall.
There's 4 empty units down there.
Mhm.
Yeah. Okay.
Well,
That's
as
where
far
we
as
go back-
activities, we do play 500 with a group of people in the
I've seen you down
um,
there. Yes.
every
second
Saturday.
floor lounge.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah, the
That's
card
fun.
groups here,
That's
they
always fun.
love cards. People just love to play cards.
That's
The
wonderful.
ones that are involved in the card making or card playing,
yeah,
they like
Yeah.
to do that.
it's 500. We've played that game a long time. We played with Karen's folks and up at the family cabin up on the Turkey River. We could be up there till midnight, 1 o'clock playing cards.
Now, where's that located? The Turkey River. I don't
It's
know.
between Elgin and Claremont.
Okay.
It's right on the river and
Northeast.
northeast.
Okay.
Yeah.
We're talking about the Mississippi?
No, the Turkey
No,
River.
Turkey.
Oh, I'm sorry. Turkey. Okay.
Little River. Especially compared to
Yeah.
this.
Yeah, okay.
So we'll be up there every now and then.
Mhm. You have a cabin or something? Yeah.
Yep.
Cabin.
Family cabin.
And pretty much people from the cabin. Our daughter and her family have been up there. Our son goes up every once in a while.
Right.
And Karen's brother and his wife and grandchildren go up probably the most of late anyway.
Of late, that's probably the most.
So when we were living in Oline, it was a pretty short jaunt to get
Right.
there.
Right.
But we have another hour and a half onto that to get up there now. But it's a fun place.
So having a cabin away
There's-
from home is always a good thing. We had one too. We had one in Okoboji for 9 years. And my husband just loved going up there. We had, we were on the canal. We had some boats and we had different things. Kids like to come up there and go fishing. And
Yeah.
Sure.
so it's a good family get-together, getaway.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I was born in Spirit Lake.
That's right. That's right.
And my dad was worked for the telephone company
Mm-hmm.
and was transferred here to Waterloo
Okay.
when I was about 2.
Right.
And so I basically had been raised in Waterloo.
Right. Right. This is what you call home.
Yeah, we had aunts and uncles that we would go up every Thanksgiving and visit. And another uncle that lived in Jackson, Minnesota, which
Minnesota,
is
right
just
over the border. Yep, I know where that's at.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, we're kind of getting down to the end of our time together, and Tom, do you have any closing words or any words of wisdom or anything you'd like to?
Well, if you're listening to this and you're thinking about coming to Friendship Village for your retirement years, you can't miss. It's a wonderful place.
All right. Thank you, Tom. Thank you. And thank you for coming, and Karen, thanks for
Thank
being
you.
here. And so as we like to close it out, let's do it this way again. Let's see.
May the good Lord.
May the may the good
Give me a
Lord
hint.
bless and keep you until we meet once again. Bye.
Goodbye.
Bye.
May the good Lord. Yes. Thank you for the good Lord.
Amen.
You know how to sing that song?
May the good Lord bless and keep you, whether near or far away. May the good Lord bless and keep you till we meet again. Now, what show ended up that way on
Roy
TV?
Rogers
Roy
and Dale
Rogers and
Evans.
Dale
Yeah.
Evans.
Mhm.